news that is coming in, and the U.S. Secretary of State meets External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, and he says, pleased to meet Blinken. Is the latest that we are picking up. Remember earlier today, the crucial G20 meet of foreign ministers took place, and what we are picking up now is that India-US bilateral meet has also taken place. In fact, those are those visuals that we are displaying across your television screens, where you can see Dr. S. Jaishankar, who's our External Affairs Minister, meeting Antony Blinken. In fact, Dr. Jaishankar, saying that he is pleased to meet the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. All right, remember earlier today, the G20 leaders meet took place, that crucial meet of foreign ministers took place, and now what we are learning is that the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is meeting the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, and we are displaying those visuals across your television screens of that meeting, which is on the sidelines of the crucial G20 meet. Remember today, in fact, Prime Minister Modi had addressed the G20 foreign ministers. He had also highlighted the need to unite in order to achieve the common objectives. He said the experience of last few years, like wars, terrorism, pandemic, economy, shows that global governance has failed. And going straight across to my colleague Rishabh, who is joining us live on the broadcast for more on this. Rishabh, what more do we know about the India-US bilaterals?
So, well, if you see, India-US bilateral is an important meeting that has happened on the sidelines of G20 foreign ministers meet here in Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. And the major point on the table, the major issue on the table was Russia-Ukraine conflict. Remember, now US and the countries worldwide believe that India is the only party that can resolve Russia-Ukraine conflict diplomatically and via discussion. Remember when Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, was coming to India, was about to start his India visit, he made a public statement where he said that India should use its influence on Russian leadership and de-escalate Russia-Ukraine conflict. And in case Russia advances with a nuclear weapon, it would only be India which can discuss things with Russia. So US right now is looking at India as a power in Asia which can discuss things with Russia and de-escalate the whole conflict that has led to a global crisis and disruption in food and food security and fuel and energy. Apart from that, the other topics that have been discussed is India-China, of course, and there are sources indicating that Indo-Pacific has also been discussed. Things like, crumbling economies in Indian neighborhood, like Pakistan and Sri Lanka, have also been talked about. So a host of issues have been talked about, but the priority remains Russia-Ukraine conflict, and that was, this is what the sources have suggested. An official, communication from both India and US is still awaited from what happened in the bilaterals, but the sources suggest that these are the major issues that have been discussed in the bilateral meeting of External Affairs Ministers Dr. Jaishankar and Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
All right, Rishabh, if you could please also tell us about the India-China bilateral that was going to take place.
So what we know right now, that India-China bilateral was scheduled for 12 p.m. As of now, it is set to be delayed, and we'll have to wait for further confirmation. Remember, the preliminary session of the G20 foreign ministers meeting has begun, and due to the time constraint given between the session and the preliminary session, the Indo-China bilateral hasn't happened yet, and we'll have to wait. Remember, Chinese leadership was looking forward to a bilateral to ease the tension between India and China, and this would have been the first India-China foreign ministers meet post Tawang skirmishes that we have seen in December. So for now, it has been delayed, and we'll have to wait for further information to understand when and where it will happen.
Absolutely. Rishabh, today while addressing the foreign ministers meeting, Dr. Jaishankar also pointed out that even though there are difference of opinions, but there is a need to find common ground.
It's not only External Affairs Minister, but also the Prime Minister suggests the same thing, that the multilateralism is in crisis, and it is the duty of G20 members to come together and address certain issues in the world. And a difference of opinion should not come in the way to create a global policy that helps the developing countries and the countries which need the most out of who are actually looking at this group, specifically the global south, to understand that this is the group that will uplift things for them, will create development opportunities and other trade opportunities as well. So the difference of opinion should not come in the way is a message from the presidency to the G20 members.
Absolutely, that is a big message, Rishabh, there. Rishabh, going back to the India-US bilateral, if you could please also help us understand the significance of the India-US bilateral that is taking place.
Definitely. See, India has been eyeing the UNSC permanent seat. Yesterday, while we were talking to Ted Tarawa, the representative and spokesperson of U.S. Secretary of State and the State Department, he also said that U.S. do support the reforms in United Nations Security Council, and it's high time. When it comes to reforms, it has been discussed that countries like Brazil, countries like India should get a permanent membership in UNSC, and that is long due. Apart from that, if you talk about the significance of India-US bilateral, major development is how India will go forward. Remember, even after multiple sanctions that were imposed on Russia, India went ahead with the energy deal, with the oil deal with Russia, and even though there have been multiple opportunities where the West tried to pass a resolution against Russia after the conflict in Ukraine, India has been abstaining from every one of them, saying that they do want to have peace, but not at the cost of their interests. So this is the significance where both the leaders would have sat down and tried to have a midway, and that would have been the best outcome of this meeting.
Absolutely, Rishabh. We'll keep a close watch on all those developments. Many thanks for bringing us that update.